At least 4 different body styles addressed with 7 nameplates spread over 20 years of Skoda in India. And now it's time for their first made in India, named in India and made for India product, the Skoda Kushaq. We have gone through quite a few numbers, right? Here are a lot more. So we'll be listing out 16 things that you should know about the Skoda Kushaq. 11 very clever, 5 not so much. Overall, the Skoda Kushaq looks understated, but it does have some very smart looking elements. The combination of the big new Skoda grille and the slim LED projector headlamps gives the Kushaq a classy front appearance. Even the boomerang-shaped tail lamps look really smart. Well, they would have come across as even smarter if they had LED bulbs. Wow, the 17-inch wheel design is just tremendous, don't you think? And they also remind you of some other sports car company which also have similar designs. Wait, Lamborghini? Like with all Skodas, the build quality on the Kushaq is really good. Just listen to this door shut. Solid, isn't it? And then there are some bits which help this cabin feel even more premium. For example, this 2-spoke steering design looks really cool and is very well made. Even the dash top greening feels premium, and this hexagonal pattern adds flair to the overall cabin design. The infotainment system on the Kushaq might just be the segment benchmark. It is extremely smooth and responsive. Not only that, the display is high-res and crisp, and also it gets useful features like wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which makes the wireless charging pad relevant. Overall, the Kushaq's cabin is quite easy to get used to. Let's start with the stocks. They are of really high quality and also well engineered, and despite them having loads of features crammed into them, they're actually quite easy to operate. The touch-sensitive controls for the aircon not only look cool, but they are actually quite easy to use. The same goes for the steering-mounted controls. They are beautifully designed and very user-friendly. Loads of range in the seat and steering adjustment makes finding driving position very easy. And yes, like with all Skodas, even this car's cabin is very practical. Door pockets are massive, as they can easily accommodate even a 2-liter bottle. The glove box too is of decent size, but what really surprises you is the boot. On paper, it is not as big as its rivals, but it is deep, and thanks to its square shape, you can fit loads of luggage in here. The loading lip is low too, and you also get 60-40 split folding rear seats for added space. The Kushaq won't be a Skoda without some simply clever features. Ridge below the touchscreen is perfect to rest your hand on while using it. Through the infotainment, you can switch on valet mode, which records vital information like speed, distance, and if the boot was opened once you hand the car over for parking. The cup holders and the cubby below the center console has a grippy rubber surface. Not only it holds things into place better, but also avoids rattling if you put coins or leave the key in them. At the back, you get phone holders which are very handy. And just like the front, even rear seat passengers get 2 Type-C charging ports. Pull-down handle for trunk closing keeps your hands clean and also helps shorter people when it comes to reach. As far as safety is concerned, ESP or Electronic Stability Program comes as standard right from the base variant. In the top style variant, you get hill hold, tire pressure monitoring system, rain sensing wipers, auto headlamps, 3-point seat belts for all 5 passengers and 2 ISOFIX child seat anchorage points at the back. If you buy the top manual variant, you do get 6 airbags, but with the automatic, you just get 2. This is obviously done to keep the price range low, but according to us, Skoda shouldn't have skimped here. The Kushaq is a very comfortable 4-seater. Starting with the front seats, they are well contoured, they are very supportive, and you also get some feel-good features like the seat ventilation, which you'll really appreciate in our hot conditions. Even the rear seat is very heavily contoured, which gives you great support. And yes, this cabin is not that wide. You also don't get a panoramic sunroof, but despite that, you don't feel hemmed in at the back thanks to the big glass area. And despite being smaller than its rivals, even 6-footers will feel comfortable and have more than enough knee room and headroom. Now, let's talk about engine options. Now, the Kushaq gets two, and both are petrols. The first one is a smaller 1-liter turbocharged petrol engine which makes 115 PS of power. And it comes with two gearbox options as well, a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic transmission. The 1.5-liter on the other hand makes 150 PS of power and also comes with two gearbox options, a 6-speed manual and a 7-speed DCT. On test today, we have the range-topping 1.5-liter engine, which we have also experienced in the bigger Karoq, which should also make the Kushaq feel fast, right? Yes, it is quick. So the claim time for 0 to 100 is 8.6 seconds, which is very possible. This engine has loads of grunt. It pulls really well from very low RPM as low as 1300. And what also helps its scores is the torquey engine. Even out on the highway, this engine has more than enough grunt. And in fact, because of the tall gearing, this engine stays at a very comfortable RPM even at high speeds. This not only results in less stress on the engine but aids fuel efficiency as well. To improve highway fuel efficiency further, with the 1.5, you also get cylinder deactivation, which basically shuts down 2 of the 4 cylinders while cruising or when the engine load is low. And for everyday driving, because of which this car becomes very easy, be it the manual or the automatic transmission. The only problem with the manual transmission is the clutch is a little bit on the heavier side. But other than that, as an urban commuter, this car really works. Now, coming to the automatic transmission, where with most dual clutch units, you do feel some jerkiness, especially at low speeds. The Kushaq's DCT feels smooth and always manages to find the right gear at the right time. It is quick to downshift too, which makes overtaking an easy affair. So now we already know that the 1.5-liter engine has more than enough power. It is easy to drive, but what about ride quality? Well, the Kushaq drives like a SUV. The suspension, it is quiet, it's got a soft edge to it and enough travel as well. So over rough roads, the Kushaq behaves beautifully. Despite the soft setup, even highway ride is surprisingly comfortable on the Kushaq. Even over undulating surfaces, the Kushaq remains composed, there's not much body movement, so even covering long distances in the Kushaq is effortless. Is the Kushaq fun to drive? Well, yes it is. For starters, the engine, it's powerful. Yes, it doesn't like to be revved hard, where it sounds a little rough, but other than that, it has loads of grunt. And what really surprises you is the chassis. Despite it having a comfortable ride, it is very eager to change directions. And what really adds to your confidence is the fact that this car feels extremely stable going around corners, even at high speed. The Skoda Kushaq is clearly a size smaller as compared to the competition. It is both shorter in terms of length and height, and it is quite a bit narrow as compared to the Seltos and the Creta. And the fact that it doesn't have any visual mass where the wheel arches are a bit flat, people might actually end up comparing this to the Sonnet rather than the Seltos or the Creta. Because this cabin is narrow, it doesn't give you the sense of space, and in fact when you're driving this car, it feels much smaller than a compact SUV. The lack of width also makes this strictly a 4-seater. Not only that, the center passenger will feel uncomfortable because of the heavily contoured seats. Even headroom is in short supply and there's not much footroom either. Now, the Kushaq comes pretty well loaded, especially in the top-end style variant. But competition is tough, and especially when you compare it to its rivals, it does miss out on some features, like you don't get a power driver seat. The instrumentation looks a little old school. The sunroof is a bit small. You won't get electronic parking brake, no drive modes, and even the rear brakes are drums. Cost cutting and Skoda doesn't sound quite right. But in pursuit of pricing the Kushaq competitively, you do find some lower-end bits. Now the center vents on the Kushaq are of decent quality, they work quite well. But the side vents, oh my god, what is this? Wasn't expecting that. They feel fragile. Then there's this roof lining. The quality seems fine at first until you put some pressure. It doesn't seem fastened properly. Now, I really love this infotainment system, but there's one thing which is not good at all. The reversing camera. The quality is not good. The Kushaq won't come with a diesel engine option, which is a shame considering the rise in fuel prices. So, people with high mileage who are looking for a diesel option have to look elsewhere. Expectations from the first mainstream SUV, especially from a brand like Skoda, is going to be sky high. And the good thing is, the Kushaq delivers. Well, almost. It feels solidly built, it rides and handles really well, especially the ride is impressive, where it takes on worst of our road surfaces with ease. It is also very practical and comfortable for a family of 4. Then, both the petrol engines are powerful enough to put a smile on your face. Is it perfect? Well, no. It feels a size smaller as compared to the competition, and the narrow cabin means it's strictly a 4-seater. It is also missing on some feel-good features, and the fact that there's no diesel engine on offer marks it down further. Are these shortcomings big enough to be called deal breakers? Well, for some, yes. But for most people, this car will prove to be desirable and sensible. Let's just hope that Skoda prices it sensibly too.